God, I just want to go home. I just want to be home.
Right, but that's part of me saying that you're the chosen one. That's what I meant by. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah, what do you do if you're a security crying behind the car?
Damn.
I just want my blanket. I just want your blanket. You gotta get out of here. I didn't sing too much. Just can't tell me nothing. That's why when niggas be talking tough, I said, man, just say it. I didn't sing all that.
What if the truth behind Biggie's murder wasn't just about the shooter, but the people who stayed silent? March 9th, 1997. Los Angeles, the night hip-hop changed forever. The notorious BG was gunned down in the streets, and the killer, still unknown. But recently, an explosive podcast moment between Mase and Cameron brought all the old wounds roaring back. Laughing about that tragic night, mocking Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, for not firing back when Biggie was shot. The jokes hit hard. But Gene's response? That hit harder. This wasn't just about disrespect, this was about truth, and Gene wasn't holding back anymore. Gene Deal clapped back with a fury. He didn't dodge, didn't deflect. He stared that conversation in the face and said, if you're gonna speak on it, be a man, and say names. He made it clear he wasn't scared, and he wasn't sugarcoating a single word. You wanna know what happened that night? He asked. I was there, and I remember everything. And what Gene revealed next shook everything up. According to Gene, before the infamous party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, Mase and Stevie J had already been warned. They attended a celebrity basketball game earlier that day, where certain West Coast figures allegedly told them straight up, we want Puff, we want Big. This wasn't some vague threat, it was a warning. Clear as daylight. So what did Mase do with that info? He told Gene, he told Puff, but he never told Biggie, and that's where things get dark. Gene couldn't believe it. Biggie, his label mate, a fellow New Yorker, left in the dark. And Gene, realizing the tension, rushed to find Big. When he did, Mase looked at him and asked, Big Gene, why are you here? Gene shot back, if you're all right, then why am I here? But it didn't stop there. After Big's death, Mase started sharing his version of events. He claimed he was in a hotel room with a woman, possibly Brandy, and that after Biggie was killed, he found himself trapped. He described the scene. 70 bloods outside his hotel room door, said he couldn't even leave, and that maybe, just maybe, they were hunting for bad boy artists, or something even worse. Now on the surface, it sounds terrifying, but Gene poked holes straight through the story. Mase claimed Brandy was trying to call him to go to the party, but if they were already together in the same hotel room, how was she calling him to get him out? That part didn't add up, and Gene knew it. To Gene, it seemed like Mase was hiding, playing it safe, sitting back while others walked straight into danger. And while Mase was tucked away in that hotel, Gene said something else was happening on the streets of LA, something reckless. He accused Mase and Stevie J of riding around the city in a drop-top Benz, flashing around like they were untouchable. They was young, dumb, and full of it, Gene said. They didn't think anything could happen, but something did. Gene believes their antics agitated the wrong people, stirred up the wrong attention, and when that energy boiled over, the target wasn't them, it was Biggie. They showed their ass, Gene said, and Cali did what it had to do. They took the biggest thing back in New York. It was brutal, raw, but Gene didn't flinch when he said it. And that's when the focus shifted to one of the biggest accusations against him. Why didn't he shoot back? Gene answered that too, calmly, directly. He explained that their car had already pulled off from the scene when the first shots rang out. Puff had reclined his seat, forcing Gene to sit sideways. When the shots started, Puff ducked. Gene tried to open the door, but their driver kept going. How was I supposed to shoot? He asked. You want me to lean out the side of a moving car and just start spraying bullets into the night? He reminded everyone. There were LAPD officers right there. Big's own security was present. Even Diddy's driver was supposed to be watching out. But none of them returned fire either. Why? because the whole thing happened so fast, and because they'd already passed the shooter. But Mase? Gene said Mase knew the whole story. They talked after the fact. Mase admitted Brandy was trying to get him to the party. But again, how could she have been calling him if they were together the whole time? Gene saw through it, and he wasn't afraid to call it out. To Gene, Mase's sudden podcast jokes and probing questions were nothing but a deflection, a misdirection, a distraction to shift the blame off himself. Because the real question, Gene said, wasn't, "Why didn't you shoot?" It was, "Why didn't you speak up?" Mase had heard the threat. He knew the energy in the city was off. He told Puff. But Biggie? The man who should have heard it most. He was left out of the loop. That silence may have been deadly. And when Gene Deal speaks about that night, his voice changes. He's not defending himself. He's grieving. He says, "I've never bodyguarded someone I wasn't willing to lay down my life for." And he means it. But with so many conflicting stories, blurred memories, and emotional scars, the full truth may never be clear. What we do know is this: people were warned, decisions were made, and one of the greatest to ever touch a mic was lost because someone, somewhere, stayed quiet when they should have spoken up. And the echoes of that silence, they're still being heard today, because when legends fall, the truth doesn't always rise with them, but it always tries to crawl its way back.